So let's have prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I ask you to be with us this afternoon. I thank you for all you have done for us today. I ask that you will be with us and guide our words and guide our thoughts this afternoon, and may we focus on you. Amen. Okay, so you have 3 minutes to do this quiz. Turn it over, do it, and in 3 minutes, according to Mickey here, or Puppy, 3 minutes, okay? So, you got it timed? Okay, good. We're good. We are good. Okay. Okay, time has come, counting down. You'll be fine, I'm sure. Come on in. We're starting just a little opening quiz. Come on in. Were there any papers left? One left, right here. Up, and you can be working on this. Here's a pen. You can be working on that. You have 2 minutes left, and then you'll have to do whatever. It's fine. You can... All righty, so the rest of you will have to listen. This was an opener, and so I ran out of papers. I'm sorry. Actually, we're already got like 1 more minute, and then we'll go on, and they'll be part of the second activity. Okay? So we have like 1 more minute, and we're going to be into this, okay? What? I do not have any more. Okay? So share with somebody. If you need a copy to take home with you, we can do that. But this is just kind of an opener. And we must be getting close, right? 40 seconds, okay? They're going to be awake, aren't they? Okay, so we'll have to make some afterwards, but it's going to be over with in just a minute here, and you'll decide when we go through it whether you want a copy, okay? All right. Okay, is that it? 5 seconds. Man, that's the longest 3 minutes I've had. Things move a lot faster for me otherwise. Okay, all righty, stop. Is there any federal law against man marrying his widowed sister? Well, okay. So the answer is there's no law against a man marrying his widowed sister, but it would be kind of virtually impossible to have a widow. The man would have to be dead. Okay? Number 2, if you went to bed at 8 o'clock at night, set the alarm to wake you up at 9 o'clock in the morning, how many hours of sleep would you get? 13. Okay. You'd get 1 hour of sleep if you used an analog clock. Alarm clocks don't know the difference between morning and night. Okay? Do they have a 4th of July in England? Well, they have a 4th, they have a 5th, they have a 6th. You get the picture, okay? If you had only 1 match and entered a cold room that had a kerosene lamp and an oil heater and a wood stove, which would you light first for maximum heat? Match. Excellent. First right answer. Excellent. Okay. All righty. How many animals of each species did Moses take on the ark with him during the Great Flood? It wasn't Moses, it was Noah. Very good. Okay, the Yankees and the Tigers play 5 baseball games. They each win 3 games. No ties or disputed games are involved. How come? They had separate games. They didn't play each other. Okay? All righty, number 7. How many birthdays does the average man have and the average woman? They only have 1 birthday and an anniversary every year. They have 1 birthday that they were born on a birthday, and then they have an anniversary of that birthday every year. Okay? You cannot bury, let's see, how many, according to the international law, if an airplane should crash on the exact border between 2 countries, would identified survivors be buried in the country they were traveling to or the country that they were traveling from? Yes, you picked that up. That's awesome. You cannot bury survivors. They wouldn't be survivors. They'd be dead. Okay. An archaeologist claims he has dug up a coin that is clearly dated 46 BC. Why is he a liar? Because BC means before Christ, and it would be impossible for someone to at that time to know that it was even BC. All righty. A man builds an ordinary house with 4 sides, except that each side has a southern exposure. A bear comes to the door, rings the doorbell. What color is the bear? He's white, because the only place for all 4 exposures would be on the south side of the North Pole. Okay, so this is about paying attention. This is about how we read things. A lot of us picked up details. Some of us, we just went right over our heads, right? And so from this I determined that communication, it takes more than that to communicate properly, all right? It was kind of funny. I wanted you to have something entertaining for a little bit, okay? All righty, here we go. In the Bible, it says, Proverbs 12:15 says, fools think their own way is right, but the wise listen to advice. There are 2 avenues of communication, and they are verbal and nonverbal body language. So, successful verbal communication starts by using words that are bathed in love. Because if we speak without our body language, people get the wrong impression a lot of times. If we're just straight-faced, not doing anything, how can it be something loving, or how can it be something positive when you're not showing your bodily expressions, okay? And so there it is. We give each other nonverbal cues in a relationship all the time. Never rely on this type alone. So that's the opposite. If you're doing just plain verbal, you can give the wrong impression because you don't have any expression. If you give a nonverbal, an expression one without words, it could have the same effect. So they kind of go back and forth with each other, and they are on the same line. There are 3 communication styles. Aggressive, and an aggressive person is usually rude, bossy, and overbearing. Then there is another one on passive. Passive communication is strained and rare, often due to their fear of confrontation. The assertive person, this individual makes communication a priority. They listen and respond accordingly. There are 2 things in that that person has going on their favor is, number 1, they're assertive and hopefully not overbearing, but they listen and they respond accordingly. So that would be the more favorable. but I know that I have these other two in there also. Learning to listen. That's our next little thing. I need 4 people to come up here. We're going to read a story. And so I need 4 people. And this is the story of the 4 little pigs. Okay? You're going to be piggy number 1. And you'll be piggy number 2. And you'll be piggy number 3. And you'll be piggy number 4. So line up over here or right up in front of me. And I'll start us off. Okay? Once there were 4 little pigs who, as pigs always have done, wanted to wolf-proof their homes. They got together to build the best possible structure. This is the story of how the 4 little pigs became 3 little pigs. Okay? All righty. So, piggy 1, start off the story.
Pig 1.
Okay?
How is everyone today? How do you feel anyway? Is everybody okay? I just love this idea about the 4 of us building a house together.
Piggy 2?
Okay. Right. Speaking of the house, let's get to the point. We are behind schedule. Now, where's that list? I believe we are in phase 2 of the initial planning stages. Yes, it's all right here.
Hogwash. Forget the list. Let's go on with it. Talk's cheap. We need some actual construction around here.
Now there's an idea. We could get started building. Or maybe we should look around for some investment property. I saw a nice little place of property down by the river. Water access on one whole side of the house. What would keep the old wolf thinking? That would keep the whole wolf thinking.
Speaking of the wolf, you know, I still say we could save a lot of hard feelings in the end if we would just sit down and meet with the wolf in person. I have this feeling that the wolf is probably not all that bad deep down inside. We just need to try to see things from his perspective. Being a wolf has a lot of hardship connected with it, and I don't see why we don't.
Cut it. We're off the subject. The next item on the schedule is to discuss actually building materials. I have the list right here.
Number 4.
Oh, did we remember to add all the extra stuff for the turrets? I really like turrets in a house. And what about bay windows? I think they should consider bay windows. Are they on the list?
Turrets are out. Entirely impractical. Any bay windows would provide easy access for the wolf. Anyway, we've already decided on what we need. In fact, I've actually picked up most of the stuff on the list. It was on sale. We got a good deal on it. I got brown tile instead of red. Easier to clean. I knew it as soon as we saw it.
Piggy 2.
Oh, hold on. You mean you bought these? Hold on. You mean you bought things that we didn't approve? You mean you changed the list?
Just staying on top of things.
Things are getting out of hand. I don't think I can continue with the house project in light of this recent insubordination.
I'm not sure I'm still in either. I don't completely buy leaving off the turrets, but maybe there's still hope if we consider a moat. What does everyone think about a moat?
I think we'd all feel a lot better if we just arranged to meet with the wolf. I just know he'd be sympathetic to our situation.
Forget it. I'm out. Too much talk, not enough action. I've got the stuff I need. I'm building my own house.
So be it. I'm off to the rear.
Well then, I guess I'll just have to go see the wolf myself. I'm sure he'll be understanding.
Goodbye, number 1.
That was it.
That is it. Does that sound like a board meeting? Does that sound like communicating at a board meeting? How many of the different styles of communication were in this little skit? Pretty much everything, wasn't it? We have the aggressive person, we had the passive person, We had the person that wanted the moats and the turrets and all that. And in that case, they all left and nobody is together. They couldn't communicate. They couldn't get their points across, so they all threw in the towel. How many times do we do that? We do that a lot. That's a lot to, that's a standard thing, I think, with our human nature. So, there are 4 types of listeners. The judge, the person who believes that they are always right. In Psalms 115:6, it refers to this type of person. It says, they have ears, but they can't hear. And then there's the counselor. The counselor listens only long enough to make a quick assessment and move on. I think that might have been Piggy number 3. I'm not sure. Proverbs 18:13 refers to this type of person. To answer before listening, that is folly and shame. The inquisitor. This person believes the way to listen is to constantly shoot questions at the other person or persons, something which can be tiresome and counterproductive. The other day, I kind of found myself in that same situation. I was asking more questions than I should have, probably. I was in a situation where I didn't know anything about it. I'd come in this conversation kind of late, and I was trying to cover for myself, and so I was asking all these questions that probably ended up not even have anything to do with the conversation that we had started. Not long ago, I was in a church lobby, and it was between Sabbath school and church, so it was very, very busy. There were children over here, and they were running in and out, parents coming out of Sabbath schools with diaper bags and everything they could, practically get to entertain their children during church. And there was a hubbub going, and then there was a group of people about my age that were standing over to the side. And one of them said, quite loudly, he says, "This is too much commotion for a church." And another one said, "But I really like that. This is a growing church if you see children. This is a place." And the other one said, "I'm really too old. I'm done with church. I'm not going to do anything more." And by the end of the conversation, I could tell that the conversation was not going in a positive way. Finally, one of the people said, "Well, I like my church. I like the children here. That's why I come here. That's why I want them here." And everybody else we just split. And I didn't say much because I was kind of the listener. I was standing out in the door, and of course I was a guest. And so, I wasn't going to make anybody upset or anything. But a lot of times our conversations, we aren't aware of our surroundings, of where it's proper to talk and where it isn't, and the things that we say. A lot of things are taken wrong, and we don't mean it to be taken wrong. We actually are just stating our feelings, and we don't mean to, have conflict. So being a good listener, this one is the inquisitor, the person that believes the way to listen is to constantly shoot questions. We already did that one. Okay, the good listener, by far the most effective listener to the person who listens not only to the words said, but who also tries to understand the feelings of the person who is speaking. That didn't happen in the lobby that day. Everybody had their own little mission. Yes? Oh, sure. The first one is the judge, okay? You need to see the others? We'll go on down the list. So, in order to be a good listener, you almost have to be a good conversationalist too. You have to know when, and you have to know when not to say things. to listen and understand. According to James 1:19, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Proverbs 20:12 says, ears that hear and eyes that see, the Lord has made them both. It is really hard to be a good listener. It's hard for me. I lose track. And it's sort of like this 3-minute quiz that I gave you. After the first few questions, I just skim over them. And I miss all the important things. And I never get them right because my attention span is very short. And a lot of people's attention span are very short because we're so used to our devices and we're so used to having that things move fast for us. That old-fashioned conversation doesn't happen. It just, I have a son, and he is going to be 40 at the end of the month on Halloween, in fact. And when he was a little boy, he had friends, and they would go bike riding, and they would do everything together. He went to Forest Lake Academy. He had probably 2-3 friends there. Not real close, but pretty good. He went to Southern. He had a few more friends, and he got into gaming. And as he got into gaming and he moved back home, all his friends are on he communicates with them only on the gaming board and through headsets. He knows what they look like by their little icon that they want him to know. But other than that, and he has probably good conversations with them because they're lawyers and they're people from all over the United States. He has I think there's about 12 in his group that he plays with. And maybe sometimes he joins another group. He has a couple college friends one is a pastor in Illinois and another is working as a scientist in D.C. Over the last 10, 20 years, he's probably contacted them once. He went to the pastor friend a couple times to stay. The pastor friend finally got married and all that. And my son is not married. But that's what I find with our youth today. I mean, he's a good conversationalist when you're talking about things that he knows. He's a pharmacist, so, our conversations now, my husband is sick, and so our conversations are mostly around medical. What would you do here? Is this a side effect of chemo? Is this whatever? But to get into the heart of it, once in a while he'll come out and say, what are you going to do for your future, Mom? Are you going to retire? What happens if Dad gets really sick? Are you going to stay home? Don't count on me, he said. I'll make sure you're taken care of, but don't expect me to be here daily. But that's the young people in our lives, that generation that doesn't know this old-fashioned communication. I lived on a farm where we had party lines, and we all had our separate ring. There's a ring, a long ring and a short ring, and people would stay on and just listen. Unless they picked the button, they could listen to all kinds of conversations, and that's how they communicate. That's how they knew everything, communication. But that doesn't happen any day now. You only see on the computer and Facebook what they want you to see. You don't actually know what is happening in those people's lives. To be a good listener, eyes on the speaker, mouth is quiet, hands are still, brain is thinking about what it is being said, ears listen carefully, and feet are still. I was in a seminar the other day, and they were talking about an auction or something, and the guy said, I know when I need to make a bid on something. He said, it's when my wife's leg stops shaking or stops wiggling back and forth. And he says, because now I know she's listening, and I know I have her attention. Up to that point, she's sitting there swinging her legs, and he says, and then I can ask her, is this a good deal or not? What we do and how much we listen is deteriorating as this society is changing. Healthy communication has two ingredients. It has assertiveness, the ability to express your feelings and ask for what you want in the relationship, and active listening, the ability to let your partner know you understand them and restating their message. In a growing church, we need healthy communication. We need to be aware of everyone. We need to have lists of people that are sick, people that are not feeling well, things are happening in their life, relationships are breaking up, there's so-and-so's got this happening in their life. We need to do more than just having a list. We need to make it our goal, our duty, or however you put it, to be more interpersonal and find out what's happening and visit and do one-on-one ministry. You know yourself that if you don't keep up with your friends, with your partner, if you don't keep up a dialogue with them, after a while, you say less and less. It's like, you're just saying a few words in your conversation. I'm talking a lot about my family, but I find that in my relationship with my husband, due to his illness and all the things that are happening in his little brain these days, our conversation is getting less and less. And now that I look back, I wish I had taken the time to sit and have conversations, longer conversations with him. Because his memory's gone, his ability to just focus and stay on point and not get off of it, just his ability to just say random things that have nothing to do, hurt my heart, okay? I have a hard time communicating. Now is the time when you have this ability in your relationships, in your church. You need to take advantage of getting to know people past the how are you. People walk by my office and they'll say, how are you? I said, I'm perfect. They keep walking. Now, if I stopped and said, well, it's pretty bad today, I was walking in, I got wet and all that, they'd stop and they'd come in and they'd want to know what it is. But in order for them to do their job and my job, I have just chosen to say I'm perfect because they don't know what to say. They just walk on by. And I've kind of cut off that conversation. Our words can hurt. Our words can build up. Our words can do a lot of things. Our actions, however you put into communication the things that you do, are what makes a big statement about your church, your relationship, and what's happening in your family. During the hurricane, I was in an area, it hit Fort Myers at a Cat 4, and it hit my area, which is more Tampa way, kind of up the middle, about Cat 2. And my kids, of course, it's mom's time, we play games and whatever, everybody comes home, And so it's a family time. And then the electricity goes out. And then after 5 days of spending 5 days and no electricity together, communication goes down. We can't say anything positive. Wish that electric company would come out. Have you seen any trucks? But depends upon the circumstances whether you can stay positive about it. But we needed that family time. I learned more of that during that time with my kids again. I caught up in their lives because of, I know a little more and I can pray for them. One of the things I do daily, and I am not in my home church very often. And when my mom passed, I felt I lost my church because she knew everybody and she would keep in contact with them. So I have made it my little thing that every day I have 4, 5 people in that church. And they're growing older like I am. And I text them every day to give them a positive statement. And they have started communicating with me. And that's how I know what's happening in my church. They'll say so-and-so. They're never, ever negative. They'll always say so-and-so in this church passed away. So-and-so needs prayer. And it's my way of staying connected. I know that each of you have ways, the way you stay connected too. The magic ratio. The magic ratio equals 5 times as much positive feeling and interaction to 1 negative feeling. So here's a list of positive interactions that we can take heart and know. Show interest. Be affection. Remember back here it says that about bathing something in love, our verbal and non-verbal, it says a successful verbal communication starts with using words that are bathed in love. Showing affection, showing you care. Be appreciative. Be empathetic. There we go. Be accepting. Joke around, but know your limits. And share your joy. You know, I know of a couple of my friends that just love to be greeters at the front of the church. Because they want to, first of all, they want to know how everybody's doing, but they get to share their smiles, and they are good at it. They get involved. They know when people are hurting, when people are needing things. So, building people up in our communication and keeping it positive is a real art. I have a little exercise. How am I doing on time? Oh, hey, I'm good. I have a little exercise, so I want like 4 or 5 of you to get together in a group, and I'm going to give you a little man and some tape to each group. So can you help me? I'm sorry, I'm putting you to work. 4 or 5 in a group, or 3 to 5, and hopefully I have enough there to go around. And then I'll tell you what to do with you have 1 man for 3 to 5 people, okay? 1 little gingerbread man, okay? 1 little gingerbread man. 1 tape for each group. 1 tape for each group. Okay? Okay. All righty. Join a group. Get to know each other. Communicate. There's a group of 4 right there. Communicate. Love it. Be kind. You have what you need? You have an extra one over there? Okay. Oh, we need one right over here. Here's your little man. He's bringing you tape right there. He's bringing you tape. And they need, 1 man for the 4 of you. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. I want you to look at that man, that whole person, that it's not a, I want you to look at that whole person, okay? And this person is that annoying person that came to church today, and he's an annoying person. And he just stood out like he didn't fit. And so I want you to go around your group, and as you look at pass the man around, and as I want you to think of something very negative about him, and I want you to tear off a piece of him, okay? All righty? So for right now, you're just going to collect the pieces. Don't throw the pieces away, but collect the pieces. So you're going to have lots of pieces. So you're going to go around several times until I tell you, but say something not very positive about this person. You didn't like what he said in Sabbath school. He came in, his socks didn't match. He said he was kind of inappropriate when he looked. I mean, so you think of something negative about a person that this particular person that was probably, he might have even been visiting, because this church wouldn't have anybody like that. Yeah, in your group, you pass it from place to place, and you tear off a piece and say, boy, he was annoying. Did you see him eat lunch today? His manners weren't there. Whatever it is, I want you to say something on the negative side, okay? Only negative, and you keep your pieces. Keep your pieces. You're not riding on him, no. Well, I didn't like the way he was dressed either. I thought that sweatshirt just was inappropriate with a Yankee on it. I thought it was inappropriate for church. Oh, you take whatever off, you know. I know he's going to look bad, but maybe you didn't have any interaction with him. Maybe you didn't communicate, but you used your eyes and you listened. Maybe you didn't, the first thing he said you didn't really like, and so you kind of just listened. Okay, so how are we doing? Has everybody had a chance to put their word in? I don't want you to write on his body. I just want to see what he looks like right now. Show me what he looks like. Sad. Show me what he looks sad. Sad. Did you get around to everybody? Oh my goodness, he's only got legs. Oh my, bad. Bad. Okay, so what you're going to do now is, he looks pretty bad, doesn't he? You have some tape. I want you to take your piece, and I want you to say something positive about that person, that you could have helped him, or that you didn't know but you think maybe he was having trouble with, and you're going to tape your person back together, okay? You're going to try to make him look whole again, all right? You need tape. Where's my tape? Here we go. Would you send this tape back to those poor people, that poor guy back there? Okay. No, you each can take a piece of tape, or whatever it is, you need to tape him back together. You can, whatever. One person can be the taper, or each of you can be the taper. But make him look as whole as he can, okay? Make him look as good as you can make that poor guy look. Is he looking better? Is he looking better? Okay. How's he looking? Oh, he's looking broken. Did you stitch him up? When he gets back together, let me see him. Okay. How are we doing over here? How are we doing over here? How are they looking? Got some bruises. Got some bruises. Oh, boy, the head. Somebody went for the head. Telling you. Ooh. He's got arms again and looking good, I'm telling you. Folks, I don't care what you do to this poor guy. He is never going to be like he was at the beginning. Never, ever. Now he has an armor, and he is going to look out for people like you. He may never communicate with you again because he has all these bruises and he will never be whole. But, like I told the children today, he can be whole. He can be perfect. He can be ready for heaven someday, right? He can have all those things and he can be in heaven because God cleared the way for us, didn't he? If you want to listen, if you want people to listen to you, listen to them. I will want my tape back, but I don't want my little men back, okay? So as we transition here, I have some more things I want to talk to you about. But that guy, I really wanted him to stay with me, but I don't have room to take him. But he'd probably be back next week, and I would hope that he would stay a little bit more put together than he was today. And I would hope that, and I know that that happens at churches, but it only happens in families too. How many of us have people we've never talked to for a long period of time because there was a rift some way back when? I'm going to talk about my family again because that's, they are very dysfunctional, okay? I'm sorry. I love the fact that God loves them, and no matter what, he's going to love them.
I don't feel alone now.
What?
I don't feel alone.
You shouldn't. My mother was 94 when she passed, and there's 4 of us in my family, 3 boys and a girl, and I'm kind of in the middle. We all were born in August, and we celebrated one birthday every year. It was kind of like a real, we'd all line up, take a picture with the cake. Never ever had my own birthday. I grew up on a farm, very hard life, poor. It wasn't until I counted a blessing. God gave my father a mental condition, a health condition that caused him to change his profession. And we moved to an Adventist community in Hinsdale, Illinois from North Dakota. But anyway, my dad passed away maybe 24 years ago. But my mom didn't pass away too long ago, but she was 94, very bright. And she would pray for everybody. And, she was so strong and her mind was so clear that we all let her do the communication for us with each other. And she would call each other, call all the children, and then she would tell us things. She would pin us against each other. And so, I don't know why, but for years we just accepted this. It wasn't until she passed that we started communicating. And I have found friends in my family. My brothers and I are closer than we have ever been. And it's pity because we're all in the ages of retirement, or all in the older ages, and we could have had all this wonderful thing when our kids were growing up and whatever. But it wasn't until we made an effort to communicate with one another that we have something now. We talk to each other, every week. Sometimes I've talked to them twice. And my nephews call, and what I missed in life. What are you missing in life? And it may be not your place to make that first move. Maybe it wasn't you. But somebody's got to start it. Somebody has got to start it. Communication. It's a wonderful thing when done right. It's an awful thing when done wrong. If you want to contact me, that's how you contact me. We have cards. Dr. Dewani has a card up here. I have a card, so afterwards you can pick that up. I brought some things for your leader today on relationships that I'm going to give to her. And I understand she's your family ministry leader too, so I'll be sending her some family ministry things too. But this is on relationships. And so there's a little book here that says, The Reason Is Principles About Your Relationship. Then this one is Happy Couples. This one is family ministry book on the new family ministry training book for leaders. There's also a participant book, too, that you can get through Advent Source. There's Wanted Relationships, a book on that. And then this one is a marriage one, Celebrate Marriage. And so I'm going to give you these for your little library. You share them as you need them, use them, whatever. So that's yours. And for everyone else, I have a couple books up here, besides the cute little pen. Did you like that little pen? Wasn't that cute? That was absolutely cute. It works great on your screens, and they're a wanted commodity. Someday we're going to trade these, and we're going to make money off of these. Trust me, because they cost money. No, by budget, but people keep asking for them, so we keep making them. So, did you get my tape back? Okay, good. So, I have some books here. These are Pursuing Hope by the Southern Union. They sent this to us. It's a story on Justin Hannah, and we offered it to all the pastors at one time if they were at pastor's retreat. And for couples, you can have one, and then everybody else that isn't a couple, that's like me, here by myself, there should be enough to give out to everyone. And then I have another book that I brought, Hope for Today's Families by Willie and Elaine Oliver. And it is a book, there is hope for you and your family. So, if your family's perfect like mine, you might just want to take this book and share it with somebody. But I found reading it wasn't too bad. I learned a lot. So, yes, you can pass them out for me. And yes, and I have some more that if you run out there, I have more. Okay, so let me get out of your way. They're in one of these. Yeah. 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 There's more here. Do you need more of those? One for couples. Oh, that's it. No, they're all for everybody. The couples, I thought they'd share one, unless they really have, got it? Unless they have a real need for whatever. And then someone can pass these out if they want to. Here's some more. You need a pen? Okay, I'll charge for it. There you go. And I'm going to get out of his way here. And there's that. I'm sorry I'm in your way. But anyway, did anybody have any questions? I didn't mean to quit. Yes.
You see the first part, you have the curriculum. Can one person have all three, like a bit of each?
I think so.
I think so
because it depends upon the situation. It depends upon where you are in the conversation also, if you arrive late. But I think we all have times when we are many different types of listeners, we could be aggressive, we could be passive. It just depends upon how our mood is for the day or whatever. So. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
Do you have any more pursuing? Did anyone need this one? You need the little one?
Right there. Do you need more than that? Is that enough? Okay, I'm getting out of your way. I am. I'm out of your way. I'm going to stop talking, and I quit 10 minutes early.
No, we had to use the other type of...
So our cards are up here. Does anybody need a card? Yes. One of each?
We call you, we'll get you, right?
Yep, one of each?
I don't need to, I'm giving it to somebody.
Okay. If you can't reach one of us, we kind of like each other, so we kind of
Thank you.
are together. You want one? What? There's cards. Here's his cards. Here's his cards. I have more of mine, too. He's going to get his collectible pen. Okay, where is... Here's some more of mine. Here's some more of my cards.
So we are finished with the communication seminar, but the next one is at 3 o'clock, and I know people that are coming in for just that. So maybe we can take a short break, go to the bathroom, and maybe,
you need
Ms.
more?
Judy, if it's okay with you, we will have like a short period of questions.
putting them all
And
in
if
the same
somebody needs to slip out, they could. Is that okay if we have a question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is a good time to ask some of
Yeah,
those
ask me a question.
questions.
I have an answer.
Tips for difficult conversations when there is like a major issue with, let's say, even within the church? Any tips on what I have found is that if you pray first and then go to the person
Right.
with God's
You're
wisdom,
following
that a
the
lot of times is a
Matthew,
lot
whatever,
better
yeah.
than,
Yes.
you know, but any helpful tips
And you always
on
want to
having,
take somebody with you. You know, you always want to have that third person because nowadays is, you know, it's important to cover yourself. Nobody else is going to cover you. Difficult, you know, praying, going into it. You don't know until you're in that situation what to say. Always work on the side of grace. Always work on the side of,
What if you're joking with someone and you misunderstand?
and that's really hard.
It's difficult.
Okay, that is very difficult.
Yes, it is.
The more you explain yourself, the
The
deeper
worse
you
it
get
get-
in
the
the
worse
hole,
it
right?
Like you said, there's
There's-
three boys and one girl in your
Yeah,
family.
right.
What if somebody said, which one were you?
Yeah. And so what, okay, which one am I? Okay, well, that should be a visual thing.
It's a
But,
joke.
yes, that's a joke. Yes, it is. And so joking, I grew up in a family that jokes, so that isn't, but there's a lot of people that are a lot more serious.
I guess your question was about joking?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what was the question?
Well, he just said, how do you, you know, he said, if someone says a joke, how do you handle it and they take it wrong? And how do you get yourself out of that? It's very difficult. I'm just a joker.
If you can raise your hand and I'll get the microphone to you.
I don't have all the answers. The main thing I want you to know is that prayer, study, and make sure you cover your bases before you get into a situation that you can't get out of. That means take another person, speak with your pastor, speak with a counselor, speak with somebody. And so, because if you have any experience in being at anywhere these days, our fuse is about this long, and anything can turn bad in just a few minutes. And if you're aware of that before you get into it, you're a lot better prepared. And you might have to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I offended you. I'm sorry that you took that wrong. And you might have to be the big person in this and do that. Yes, dear.
I was just going to say, in regards to joking, sometimes it really depends on the relationships that individuals share with each other.
Right.
If you know somebody, if you know them, then you understand they're joking or you understand where they're coming from. But
Right.
if a person doesn't know you that well and you come up with, joke or something off-site, you don't know that person to know how well they would take it or not take it,
That's
So I
true.
think sometimes considering those things,
I agree.
makes a difference.
I agree. Just in your mind, be the better person, have the bigger heart, be willing to just step back and say, I'm sorry you took it that way. It was not I had an intention for you to do that, but let's, agree to disagree, and you may never have a relationship with that person, but always end with, either trying to pray with them and with a positive note that you could live with. you know. Don't think you have to have the last word, okay? Yes.
Assertive, yeah. Being assertive, that's very important for a good relationship, a deep going to the depth of the relationship. Now, we don't know how to have being assertive because we don't know really how to say the truth in love.
Right.
And that's why we keep our conversation, okay, I'm fine,
yeah.
and we keep our, do you have some material you can give us to learn how to be assertive?
To be more, you have to get to know that person more than on the surface. If you are, you know, if you want to get a relationship that you can relate with back and forth, and you can have that type of thing that they'll call you if they're in trouble, or they'll call you and you want to, you know, be a part of their lives. You want to know and you want to help them in a situation. If they were, I'll say, in the, out of food, out of whatever it is, if you want something, you're going to have to build a relationship with them. You can show, but continue relationships. Is you're going to have to really work at building relationships. It can't be on the surface if you want to know what their true heart is.
Yes, that is one by one, but if we, like we are in a community, we are in a church,
Okay, yeah.
we cannot know everybody, but we can develop
Yes, you
healthy
can.
relationship
Yeah.
with everybody if we know
That's
how
why,
to respond.
that's why communication, that's why you have people that are leaders in certain departments like family life and everything, and she's working at that. So consult with her to see ways that you can provide programs, provide one-on-one with people, you know, provide a learning situation, yeah, a learning environment. But being in a church relationship has many different personalities, and, you know, they always refer to the church as being a hospital, and it is. It's where we come, and we would hope to have a nice atmosphere, but as we read with our little piggy story, not everybody's on the same page at all the time. I would always ask you to, you know, err again on grace and take it to the Lord and pray. His timing is perfect. It may not be today, it may be in the future, but we're always learning, we're always stepping out, we're always, you know, trying to be better ourselves. So, yes.
This happened at church last week, and I know it was also a lack of communication. So this young lady called me, but the group of people she was with, I wasn't too comfortable because they joke a lot. So I really didn't go. And then when she had the actual meeting, I said, "Did you call me?" She said, "No, I don't want you over here." I was offended. But I am not the confronter enough to go up and say, "Oh, you just hurt me." But I felt it.
Yes.
What I did, I just went home and I really, really prayed to the Lord, because she is very sensitive, and sensitive people are people who always hurt people. Mm-hmm. Hurt people. So all week is just like, it just bothers me, because honestly, if I had done it to her, she would have been offended. Mm-hmm. And I was hurt because she was rude. Right. But I know if I say, when people hurt you, you're in today's society, in today's church system, when people hurt you, if you tell them they hurt you, they get mad with you, and then you become offensive because they hurt you, but you shouldn't tell them they hurt you. Then they get mad because they hurt you, and you tell them they hurt you. And that's how it is. So I didn't say anything to her. I just pray all week and like, "God, just please help me." When people hurt me, I just avoid them and pray and say, "Lord, I know I'm not perfect, but help me to love them." Because if I say something, they're going to get offended, and then it's going to stay there, and it's going to get fester, and then we no longer talk, and then it creates animosity, and it goes on and on. So my thing, how I deal with it, I kept my hurt in my heart, and I just keep praying until the Lord gave me victory over it.
Right. That's probably, that works for you, and that is great. You have a system that you work through, and you can live and be positive about it in your life. Even though you would love to be friends with this person, you've learned to deal in a situation of how it's going to make you so you can continue your life. But there are no situations that are perfect. So, as again, I ask you to prayerfully consider relationships And I'll try to invite you to err on the side of grace. God gave us grace in many situations that I probably wouldn't have been that generous, but He is always on our side, and He is always covering for us. And I try to remember that as I deal with things. May you have a blessed Sabbath, and may you, if there's anything I can do for you, you have my email. Just text me, text Dr. Dewani. We're here to help you. We'll help you if you need, like, to talk to somebody, to have any special help in mental health, marriage, relationship, family, whatever it is. We're here to get you to the next step. And so please get in touch with us. And we have a good network that we use, and we will help you in your areas. Okay? Mm-hmm.
Before we start, let's stand up for a moment. Everyone stand up. Let's stretch, because I know we just finished eating, and some of you are fighting hard, but you did great. You stood up awake. Judy, they stay awake, okay? I was watching you. Okay, so let's
and the food was delicious.
The food was delicious, so all the chef and all the ladies, las cocineras, excelente. Me gustó. Comida excelente.
Excellent.
Okay, let's stretch. Come on, everyone, on your toes. Let's stretch.
Okay,
and let's go to your left.
You need it?
No.
Okay, and let's shake it, the waist. Okay, shake it, shake it. Don't worry, you're not dancing. You're shaking. All righty, and take a deep breath. Exhale. One more time. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale slowly. And you may sit down. Thank you. Did we pray already?
No, we haven't prayed.
And let's start with a word of prayer. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we are ready to begin. Thank you very much for the wonderful information that we were able to learn about communication on behalf of Judy Smith. Now we're going to present all they have, and we want you to continue to be here with us and use us so we can be a blessing, not only for the ones who are here, but also for ourselves. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
I have a story. How many of you like stories? Oh, I like that. You're my kind of people. So there is a couple, and they have many years married, okay? Many years. And this couple, I could say an elderly, that's okay to say. And they went to the doctor, and the wife was taking the husband. So I'm a visual learner, so you can visual how they were walking. So the wife was, bringing their husband into to the doctor's office. And like that one, yes. And he was hard of hearing. So the doctor asked the couple to sit down, and the doctor was speaking. And the husband came out and said, "What is he saying? What is he saying?" He said, "Honey, I will tell you later. Wait." And the wife continued talking with the doctor. And the doctor said, "I have the test results, and it doesn't look good. But I have good news. If you follow this rule, there will be a great improvement. All you have to do so your husband can get better, making all the food that he likes. Treat him well. Do not fight with him. Go, everything that he says, say yes. Everything that he says, you say yes. And you stay quiet, and everyone, he's correct all the time. And I will tell you, he will get better. Just follow that, and he will get better." The wife stood quiet, took the husband by the hand. They go out, and the husband going again. "What did he say? What did he say?"
What is he saying?
And the wife looked at him. She took a deep breath. he said that you are going to die. I know wives are not like that here, right? You are going to take care of your husband, and you're going to follow the rule. You're not going to argue with him. You're going to make all the food, the dishes, so he can get better sooner. It's just a joke, okay? Please don't take it.
Okay, we are not coming here pretending that we have a perfect marriage. We recognize that we struggle too, no? I must confess that when I began to study about marriage and family a long time ago, I said to myself, with all this knowledge, with all these studies, I will be a perfect husband. I'm learning so much that I will do everything right. And I will make my wife very happy. But I forgot something. I forgot that I had a sinful nature. I forgot that the emotional dynamic that I experienced in my family of origin, it was the same emotional dynamic that I was bringing to my relationship. The trauma, all the negativeness, everything it is in my subconscious mind. So I have to confess that we are struggling the same way that you are struggling. Even though I'm a psychotherapist specialized in marriage and family therapy, sometimes we need to sit down and we need to talk. We need to resolve our issues. We are on the same boat. So we are not pretending that we are perfect. We will be vulnerable here. We will speak clearly because we believe in vulnerability. If you want to heal, you need to become vulnerable. You need to open up yourself. So we will be open. We will share our experiences. We have 28 years of marriage. That's wow, baby. Wow, I deserve an applause.
He's looking for trouble, right?
28 years married to this beautiful lady here.
No, it has been a blessing. Let me see. Everything has not been perfect because, like my husband explained, we will be lying. And the Lord knows our hearts, okay? And yes, we have been married 28 years. We had 2 kids. Jasmine is 26 and Sammy is 25. And we are very happy. And sometimes, my husband, let me see, we are different. We are Hispanic, but we are different nationality. Someone asked us, he's Cuban, we're Puerto Rican. Let me tell you, sometimes our personality, he's more calm. So who is the one who is hard-headed here? But I'm easygoing. I'm very happy. I like to be happy. But when he gets me mad, because sometimes he does, I feel like, you know the movie? Oh, it just came to me. You know the movie, A League of Their Own, with Tom Hanks? Remember that movie? You remember that part that there was one of the players who went and threw the ball to the wrong side, and Tom Hanks wanted to struggle. He's like, he went like this to her. Right? He really was losing patience. Sometimes I feel like that with him. And then I say, you know what? He's a good husband. He is. He is a good husband. He's not perfect.
I'm an angel, baby.
No,
I'm an angel.
No. Remember, we don't lie, mi amor. But I remember that how patient he is with me because I'm also not perfect, and how wonderful he's a good father. He's a good Christian. He wants to be saved. He wants his family to get saved. He also lives, I like that what he preaches as a pastor. It's true because I'm listening, okay? I'm listening. And that calms me down, and I say, okay, there's hope. Because I said, sometimes I feel like that. Tom Hanks, like getting him through the neck. And I really have to calm myself. So, yes, baby, I am very happy to be married to.
I love you, baby.
I love you
We have
too.
party tonight, huh?
Yes. Yes. And this afternoon, we want to talk about the first step of how and why some relationships fail. And the first step about improving or enhancing your marriage is to understand what happens when the relations fail. This has been well documented by extensive research in couples that were not able to save the marriages. And learning about the failures can help you prevent your relationship from making the same mistakes or rescue if it already has failed. In the seventh principle of making marriage work, there is a doctor named John Gottman, and he lists things that predict divorce. This ability to predict divorce is based in the part of his analysis. And he did a study to 130 newlywed couples who were observed at his lab. And it was a lab at an apartment. And they were, and the lab was at a university in Washington. And during his research study, he and his team asked this couple to spend 15 minutes in the lab so they can try to resolve an ongoing disagreement they were having while they were videotaped, okay? And as they spoke, they had something attached, some sensors, okay? And they were able to scale, like measure the body stress levels in their circulatory system. And they were able to find out that there are 6 factors that he discovered, and we're going to discuss them this afternoon. The first one is called harsh startup. And the most obvious indicator that a conflict, discussion, and marriage is not going well is the way it begins. When a discussion leads off with criticism, you did not take the trash again, you are good for nothing. Something simple like that. Or sarcasm. My grandmother walked faster than you. When sarcasm begins in a harsh startup, it eventually ends up in a negative tone. That's what his research said. And his study also showed that 90% of the time, you can predict the outcome of a conversation based on the first 3 minutes of the interaction. Isn't that scary?
Wow. Another factor that he said in his study that influence in any successful marriage is what he called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And this doesn't have to do anything with our apocalyptic literature. So don't think that he's trying to interpret. He's not a Seventh-day Adventist. He's a Jewish psychologist. So these 4 horsemen of the apocalypse has nothing to do with the apocalyptic literature. When John Gottman is referring to these 4 horsemen, he's talking about 4 kinds of negativities that destroy any relationship. So pay attention. 4 kinds. If you see that these 4 kinds of behavior or communication or activities are in your relationship, in your marriage, or in your relationship with your children, you need to stop and pay attention, because he predicts that 96% of people that have these 4 behaviors will end in divorce. Number 1, criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. I will show you a video, and then later we will explain how to deal with this situation. I will show you this video.
You're so selfish. What an idiot.
It's not my fault we're always late.
Forget it.
Criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Dr. John Gottman calls these negative communication patterns the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse because they'll lead to the end of your relationship. In fact, he can predict this relationship failure with over 90% accuracy if the behavior isn't changed. So, what can you do? Well, at the Gottman Institute, we understand you might not even know you're communicating this way, or you might not know how to control it. But if you practice the following 4 research-based antidotes, there is hope for your future. Criticism attacks the character of the recipient instead of focusing on a specific behavior. The antidote to criticism is to talk about your feelings using I statements, then express a positive need. Contempt is an expression of superiority that comes out as sarcasm, cynicism, name-calling, eye-rolling, sneering, mockery, and hostile humor. Contempt is the greatest predictor of relationship failure and must be eliminated. The antidote to contempt is to treat one another with respect and build a culture of appreciation within the relationship. Defensiveness is self-protection through righteous indignation or playing the victim. Defensiveness never solves the problem and is really just an underhanded way of blaming your partner. The antidote to defensiveness is to accept responsibility, even if only for part of the conflict. Stonewalling occurs when the listener withdraws from the conversation without resolving anything. It takes time for the negativity created by the first 3 horsemen to result in stonewalling, but when it does, it can become a habit. The antidote to stonewalling is to break for at least 20 minutes, calm down, then return to the conversation. Spare your relationship from certain destruction. Learn more about it.
So I'm going to be talking about emotional floating. And the best way to describe it is when you get caught in one of these emotional moments. You have the physical sensation of something taking hold of your body. It's like backfire. You feel like your toes is raising fire, and your stomach. Well, the same
Have you
feeling,
been there?
the same feeling of Tom Hanks. He wants to stroke the lady who went to the wrong place. But you feel to do that to your partner. And sometimes when you are caught up, your thought process is not sound. However, it's not likely to dampen your urge to fight or flight. The other one is called the failed repair attempts. It takes time for the 4 horsemen and flooding that comes in the wake to overrun a marriage. But yet, divorce can so often be predicted by listening to a single conversation. How can this be? The answer is that by analyzing any disagreement in a couple that a couple has, you get a sense of what patterns they have tend to follow. They can fight about financials. They fight maybe about taking care of the kids. Other fight about going to church. Other fight about the family, how they cannot stand one of the family members. Other fights about the way of cooking or taking care of the household. Not all fights are the same. So do you understand where I'm coming?
So today, we want to talk about secrets of healthy relationship. How could you avoid these behaviors that could destroy your relationship? 7 secrets. Take note or take a picture of the 7 tips, secrets that will help you to avoid getting in trouble. This is the number 1. God needs to be in control of your relationship. How many say amen?
Amen.
We have to start with God. Because God was the one that instituted the marriage. That created the concept of marriage was originated in the mind of God. So God wants to save your marriage. He wants you to count on Him. He wants to help you. He wants to be invested in your relationship. So if you are facing any problem in your relationship, as a couple, as a family, you need to allow God to control your relationship, your marriage, because He wants to help you. He's so powerful, as we learned today in the sermon. It doesn't matter the problem that you are facing as a couple. He wants to help you, and He has the power to help you. So I see as a psychotherapy many couples fighting alone, fighting without praying, fighting without looking into the Bible, what the Bible says about that subject. And they want to find the truth about the issue that they are confronting, but they don't go to the truth to find the answer. They prefer to go to YouTube. They prefer to go to TikTok. They prefer to go to Instagram to find answer to the problem, when we have the Bible, we have the manual that the Creator, that the one that instituted every relationship, sent for us. So we need to allow God to control our relationship. We need to depend in God.
I want to say something. I'm sorry. He said, "You can hear me? You can hear me?" No, I can hear me. Okay. So we are a different nationality, and I don't know if that happens in all cultures, but they say that the first year of marriage is the hardest. Is that true? Yes, it can be, right? It can be. So not only are we trying to get accustomed to a different culture, the way of cooking. I mean, even though there are some stuff that we are the same, like the rice, but the cooking and things like that. But something else that also, that he went to the ministry in the beginning, and that also causes not blessings, but also tension, okay? Because the expectations are a little different, and hopefully you're able to understand pastor's wife and different marriage. So let me tell you, I find myself praying a lot, and that helped me. What he said, let God control. And the 20 years that we've been here together is because we have let God control. Sometimes, like I said, again, I felt like giving up and then struggling like for the neck, but God was in control. And He reminded me the good husband that He gave me, the good husband that He gave me, the good father that He is to the kids, the good husband the good Christian, the pastor, everything. And that made the difference in our marriage. So that, I believe that I am 100% believer. God was in control, or is in control. Was at that time, and still control at that.
Something that I recommend is to pray as a couple, pray as a family, pray for your spouse. If you know that your spouse has problem controlling her attitude or managing her emotions, pray for her. Because the couple that prays together stay together. A family that prays together stay together. And sometimes when conflict arises to the couple, we tend to disconnect from each other and disconnect from God. No, pray. We have been praying all these 28 years, and we have seen a positive result. Okay. Tips number 2: self-awareness. Self-awareness. Why? Because if you don't know yourself, how do you know the thing that you need to change in your relationship, in your personal life? Self-awareness is the capacity to know your problem. You cannot change something that you don't know. When someone comes for psychotherapy, one of the first things that we try to guide this person to enter to is to get to know himself or herself. You need to know yourself. You need to know why you are struggling. You need to know that why you are expressing your emotion the way that you are doing it. But we have the tendency to project our problem. No, another one that have problems. You don't know how many couple come say no, and the wife say no. My husband said that he doesn't have any problem. And recently I saw one saying, my wife said that I need to take some counseling, but I'm fine. I don't have any issue. I love my family. I hope I do everything right. I don't have. He was he was in denial. And when you are in denial, there's nothing that we could do. Because the first step to change in your life, the first step to do something for yourself is recognizing that you have an issue, that you need to change. And a lot of couples come to church struggling because this is not part of their life. They see the problem on the spouse, they see the problem in the church, they see the problem in their children, they see the problem everywhere, because it's easier to project the problem, to see the problem in other people than to look inside. It is easier to Judy have problem instead of me saying, I am the one that has problem. I am the one that have issues. I need to change. If my wife is saying, Duane, you need to work on this, I need to pay attention because she's seeing me. She's looking at me.
But you also have to be mindful about how you communicate that. Remember about the sarcasm? That cannot help at all. That will put your partner in a defensive mood, and then he would not listen or she would not listen, and it will attack. Because how dare you? You attacking me, saying probably something that is true, but you are not going to admit it, and you're going to attack the person who's pointing that fault to you.
So maybe you are asking, how do I learn to be self-aware? So I will give you some tips, and if you need more, you could send me an email, and I could send you some exercise that you could use to practice self-awareness. Number one, ask your spouse. Ask your spouse or someone that knows you very well, and ask the person and tell her, listen, I want you to tell me, where do I need to change in my life? Where do I need to grow? But you need to have courage to ask that question. Because you need to be willing to be confronted. And we don't want that. We prefer to hide. We prefer to avoid, to deny that we have any problem. So asking my wife, tell me the areas where you think I need to change. Have you asked that question to someone, to your spouse? Are you ready for the answer?
Something that can be helpful, because sometimes it's hard to communicate it because we maybe freeze, or it can be many factors. You can use the writing method. You can write a note. I'm being honest, and also there's a time for everything. Do not ask the person when he's mad. Look, you know your partner, because when he's mad, all the feelings gonna come out. You don't know how to wash the dishes. And the list will get long. But we want when your husband is in a good mood. You know when your spouse, your wife is in a good mood. Say, honey, you know what? I want to work something out. Can you please tell me what areas we are? And that will be the perfect way. Now, if the person has difficulty, like I say, talking, because some people write it or even draw it. You don't have to be perfect. 2 sticks, this and that, and then they explain it to you what it means. Does that sound more easier? Yes, and look for it, like walking, or when you do something together, or watching TV, not sport. Remember, he will not listen to you. He's watching TV, sport, that's not good for you to be talking because you're interrupting his little leisure time, right? So you know your husband when, and your wives too. But please do that, because that's going to help you from a perspective of someone who knows you. Probably your mom knows you better, your parent, but then your spouse knows you better as well.
So another exercise that we recommend in psychotherapy is do a lifeline. A lifeline is an analysis that you do about your life. And in that lifeline, you write from your childhood until the present time, everything, every major experience that you have encountered that traumatize your life, that influence, that affect you, that change your life, because all those experiences that you had in your past is influencing your present. So you need to be aware. If you were sexually abused, if you lived in a home where you experienced domestic violence, you need to be aware in how all those experiences are affecting your life today. Because maybe you are talking to your spouse, but in reality, you are talking to that person that hurt you in the past. And you are trying to to get paid for something that happened, for an emotional debt that you have from your past. So a lifeline will help you to be aware. Okay, this happened in my life. Let me take it easy. Let me talk to someone. Let me talk to a professional. Let me process this. Because every time that I have a problem with my spouse or with my children, the first thing that comes to my mind is whatever happened in the past. Remember, your mind, one of the functions of your mind is to protect you, is to help you to survive. So if you have a traumatic experience, something very hurtful in the past, every time that you have something similar to that, the amygdala of the brain will say, oh, hey, be careful, be careful. You could experience the same thing. That's why you need to be aware, so you could defend, so you could protect yourself, and you could say, okay, I need to calm down and understand that whatever I'm facing right now is not related to my beautiful wife. It's related to that person that hurts me in my past.
Tip number 3 is successful relationship learn to regulate their emotions. Now, emotions play an important role in our life. Do you agree? Yes. Emotions are like the alarm that let us know the experience we are having. Emotion fuels action. So every time we feel emotion, it moves us to do the things we need or think we need. Love is an emotion that can be learned. It can be controlled, cultivated by thoughts. Emotions are built in our brain. So let me show you this video about
Look at this video. Maybe you saw this movie, this video clip. It's a fascinating video about how emotions work, okay? Pay attention to this.
Which one is that one? Joy.
Joy. She's happy.
Which one is that one? It's sad. It's not dramatic, it's sad, okay?
Okay, let's see another one. Angry, eh?
Discuss. This is my favorite one. Scared.
So, so if you don't know how to manage your emotions, what will happen? Your emotion will manage your life, will control your life. And the emotions are like a sign, are like an alarm that is telling you that something is happening in your life, that you need to recognize, that you need to do something. But you need to use your cognitive mind to make a decision, to decide how you are going to react. So the problem that we face is that we don't know how to manage our emotions. And this rule, this system that I have here, will teach you in a few minutes how to begin to manage your emotions. So take a picture, take a note, because this is extremely important, and you need to teach this to your children. Because you learn about emotional intelligence in your house. You don't learn about emotional intelligence in the school, in the church. The way that you relate, the way that you express your emotion to your children is teaching them how to become emotionally intelligent.
And especially you can see it. Before becoming, studying to become a mental health and a counselor, I was a school teacher for 15 years, and you can see the kids that were taught how to label the emotion, how to express it. Because it's okay, emotions that exist, and it's okay to get mad, it's okay to get angry, but it's just the way to do it. Because if you get mad and I grip this thing over here and throw it on the floor, I'm mad, but it's in the appropriate way. Now the other kids, there were kids that they said, Miss Wani, I'm mad. Okay. I will not say, you cannot be mad in my class. You go, whatever. No, it's okay. Okay, I'm sorry that you feel like that. Acknowledge their feeling and help them process. But when the kids don't know how to process their emotion, that's when they grow up and they get into trouble. And especially the teenager years. You call them the confused stage, the angry stage, is because they don't know how to process those emotions because they were not taught. And they mean well, but they don't know well. And that's when they get into trouble. So it's very good, very important. So use something, and you say, Zoraida, but it's already late. No, it's still time. You can still help the child how to regulate. Remember what I said, that love can be learned, right? That is an emotion that can be learned. This regulation, this ruler, the acronym that we're going to be learning, can be learned, and you can still apply it to your kids. And if your kids already grown, then apply it to your grandkids. It's still not late. And apply it to yourself. And help with your spouse.
So number one, recognize. Recognize your emotions in yourself, in others. And one question that you should ask is, how am I feeling? What I'm feeling right now? What is the cues? What is my body telling me? What is the heart rate? Recognize that something is bothering you. Recognize that you are feeling something. Because if you don't recognize it, you will not be able to change it. You will not be able to manage it. You have to recognize that emotion. Number two, you need to understand Understanding the causes and consequences of emotions. What happened that led me to feel this way? What did my spouse say to me that led me to feel this way? As feelings change through the day, think about the possible causes of these feelings. Identifying the things that led to uncomfortable feelings can help us to manage our emotions. Recognizing, understanding the emotion, why? What is the issue? Why did I say? What is the thought that I have in my mind? Because your thoughts influence your emotions. Your thoughts influence your emotions, and your emotions influence your behavior. The way that you behave, the way that you feel is influenced by your thoughts. So if you're thinking negative about your spouse, how would you feel about your spouse? You will feel negative. So you need to recognize, you need to understand all those thoughts that are influencing your life, your body, your mind in that particular moment. Number 3, put a label. What does that mean? Put a label, put a name to that emotion. If you are feeling angry, say, I'm feeling this way. If you are feeling happy, you say, I'm feeling this way. So put a label to that emotion. If you don't put a label, you don't know what you are experiencing, because you could be confusing emotion. You could be sad, and you could think that you are frustrated or angry about something, when in reality, what you are experiencing is sadness. So it is very important to put a label, because when you put a label, you take control of that emotion. Does that make sense? And the last one is express. No, 2 more. Express. How can I express appropriately what I'm feeling for this time and place? Expressing your emotions. If you are experiencing a negative emotion, try to go from your negative emotion to a positive emotion. But you need to express. If you don't express your emotion, the emotion will stay there and will influence your heart in many different ways. So you need to express. You need to talk. I'm feeling this way, or you could talk to yourself. And one of the things that we recommend is to have an emotional journey. Journal. I'm sorry. To have an emotional journal, where you express yourself, where you express your feeling. Today I'm feeling sad because my wife said this to me. Today I'm feeling this. And record your emotions during the day. And that way you will be aware of what you are experiencing, and you will be able to manage it. You will be able to control it. And the last one is regulate. Regulating emotion. Regulating emotion. What can I do to maintain my feeling, or change my feeling, my emotion? And sometimes you should maybe take a big breath, and maybe you could talk to yourself. And maybe something that we train people to do is to change the way that they are thinking, to change the way that they are interpreting the situation. Because if you change the way that you are interpreting the situation, you will be able to change your feeling, because your thoughts influence your feelings. So change the way that you are thinking, that you are interpreting the situation, and you will be able to feel better.
This one engaging in private self-talk, I like to apply for myself, and it helps me. Let me tell you, you said Sarah's talking to herself, great. No, and especially when I go for a walk, it's amazing. Okay, if it's something that is bothering, I say, not now, it's okay, and you okay, calm, you got it. And let me tell you, by the time I finish walking and returning back to the house, it's completely gone. The feeling, the anger that I was feeling before, that was controlling, remember? The rage that you feel racing to your toes, your stomach is turning upside down like a hose. And I go, okay, not now, it's not worth it, it's not time for fight. It's okay, It's okay. It's wonderful.
So that's why you go every half an hour
Yes.
for a walk. Oh, I would be praying for you every time that you go walking.
No, it's not only for that. Baby, please, you're gonna say this lady, you know, like to fight. No, it's not only for that. It applies for anything, especially when you're under stress, because life is about, you get stressed anyway, okay? Like, it can be, look at this, even the studies. When I was studying for my master in clinical med, let me tell you, I love, but when they got to the place that I had to do those pages and research and reading, my mind was like, oh, yeah. And I had to go away and walk, and that helped me. And let me tell you, it does, because it's not only about communicating, it also, your person, it can be the stress that is building up, and you know your body better than anyone. So those, if you don't have time to go out because it's raining, then the self-talk can help you. Walk around the house back and forth, and it will help you. Or the deep breath, because it will help you calm down. You don't want to snap and take it with your son who doesn't have nothing to do. Let me tell you, my son, my kid, we love our kid, but I used to fight for everything. Like when I, because I was.
No, you had changed, right? You had changed.
Like for the kitchen, I did not like the kitchen being dirty. You know, I say, if you see that the kitchen sink is clean, you use the cup for the cereal. Hey, rinse it, that's it. It's simple, rinse it, and then when I come back from school, you know, late at night, it was 11:30 because of my class at nighttime, and I will see that sink. I'm telling you, the feeling. And like I say, I am a calm person. Can you imagine if I'm angry? I'm not an angry person because I'm happy. But those things bother me, you know, the house. And then I said to my son, I said, baby, and my husband too, you know, you here, he come late, and he will get it too. And my other daughter. And then one day, those night, I heard my son say, here, mind you, that he's 25, okay? And I'm pulling on the car driveway, and I see something in the front of the garage. I say, oh, why can they do this? And then I hear my son, oh, okay, mommy's home already. Guys, I felt sad because he did not say happy. He said, oh, like that lady, the nagging lady is coming. You know, like that kind of attitude, you know? And that rang a bell on me. Like, oh, my goodness. That hurts, that hurt. And then I analyzed that I myself made mistake because I sometimes forgot.
Yes.
And kept the cup there. And I say, that was not Sammy. That was not my husband. That was me. So that was fighting my son. And I do the same thing. So my perspective started changing. And I became the nagging mom. Because he was not saying, oh, mommy's home. Oh, mommy's coming. Because he heard me from the driveway that I was already fighting because there was something on that line. And I said, I need to change. I need to change. And let me tell you, in the beginning it was tough. I had to be like, I do the same thing. So like that, self-talk. You do the same thing. You do the same thing. And that helped me. And that helped me. So the walking is not only on the stress for your partner, baby, also for other stuff in your life. Apply it. Simple stuff. Walk away. And then with the mind different, we'll come back and you will be able to deal it. And all the stuff will come to you, like the reasoning. I do the same thing. It's not them, because I'm pointing. Them. What about me? And when I reflected and changed my way of thinking with the self-talk, it helped me realize you do the same thing. And that changed. And I'm saying I'm growing because I want to grow.
Amen. I'm very happy, baby. I'm very happy that you are not fighting.
But, you know, guys, let me tell you something. Please don't go with the impression that Zoraida is the fighting lady.
No, baby. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are lovely. You are wonderful. You are amazing. Just kidding.
Saying that I'm being vulnerable, and I'm saying I'm human, and I'm also saying all those things that I'm telling you here, we have applied them, and it works. Okay?
Okay. Tips or secret number 4, you need to learn how to renew your mind. Renew your mind. This is extremely important. The Apostle Paul in Romans 12, chapter 12, verse 2 says that we are transformed by the renewing of our mind. And how do we renew our mind? Why do we need to renew our mind? Because we have in our subconscious mind all those experiences, all those trauma, all those negativeness, all the emotional dynamic that we experience in our family of origin, all of that is stored in our subconscious mind. And today, the psychological literature is saying that our life are directed by our subconscious mind. In other words, all the experiences that we had in the past, everything that is in our subconscious mind is directing our life. 90% of all the decisions that we make every single day are decisions that we make unconsciously, without thinking. We are directed from our subconscious mind. That's why the Holy Spirit wants to transform, renew our mind. So, how do we do this? Today's science, the neuroscience, is talking about neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is a scientific term for the biblical term that we call renew our mind. And neuroplasticity is the brain ability to restructure itself after training and practice, thus creating new neural pathways in our brain. Neuroplasticity is the process that allows you to let go your past, to let go those unhealthy habits, to let go all those negativities that you could have in your mind, to let go all those dysfunctionality that you are carrying over that you are bringing from your previous generation. Neuroplasticity is that process. Neuroplasticity. How does that work? How does neuroplasticity work? Let me explain this to you. For example, do you remember when you learned how to ride your bike? When you were learning how to ride your bike, you were learning new information about the bike and how it works. You learned the physical movement, used to make it go and make it stop. You then learn how to read your environment to predict where to go and when to ride. And all these separate pieces of information activated different parts of your brain. And little by little, your brain was developing what we call a neuropath called bike riding. And that's why today you could ride your bike without thinking. Without thinking, even with your talking, texting, or it's not safe. I'm not telling you to do this, but the way that you ride your bike today is completely different than the way that you were riding your bike when you were learning, because your mind, through the neuroplasticity of your mind, you were able to record the process. The same thing needs to happen in our personal life, in our relationship. I need to change. Remember what I said about self-awareness? Then when I found out the thing that I need to change, how do I change it? How do I do it? I need to reprogram my mind. Let me play this video for you, and it will help you to understand this a little bit more.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, There are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well travelled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep travelling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
So what do you think? Neuroplasticity, renew your mind. So if I know that I need to forgive, if I know that I need to give to my wife a second chance, if I know that I need to change in something, begin to change the way that you are understanding the situation, the way that you are thinking, because when you begin to change, you are forming new neuronal connection. And the more neuronal connection you have about something, the better you will do, because those neuronal connections will grow, and it will become a path, a neuronal path, and that neuronal path will influence in your behavior. It is possible. The Bible says that we need to renew our mind, and science says it is possible. So praise the Lord for that. Praise the Lord for that.
There was a couple who had been married for 20 years. And one day, there was a violent fire in the home. The neighbors called the firemen, and the woman, the wife and the husband were taken out the house, and they were rushed to the hospital. After several days, the doctors came in and talked to the husband. And they said this to him: "We were able to save your wife, but she is unrecognizable. She has a mash of skin above her waist. Her lips are deformed. She lost part of the nose and the ears. It is going to be difficult for your wife to take care of herself." And the husband answered to the doctor in a very low voice, "I also suffer a lot with that fire. I am blind after all." So the couple went to the house and gave thanks to the relatives and friends for the help. But after that day, they did not come out the house as much. She was completely deformed. They have lived together for more than 17 years when the wife died. In her visitation, there was a big surprise among the family and the friends. The husband did not have glasses on, and he had no cane. And the surprise, they came over, and they got close to him, and they say, "Were you became blind and cane when the fire happened?" And he answered, "I never was blind or lame. I just pretended to be blind because I knew my wife could never feel truly loved if she would have known I could see her deformed body."
Wow. So we are challenging you today to invest in your relationship. There are three secrets that I will mention. We didn't have the time to discuss it, and I will mention them to you. The last three are: learn to have emotional connections, and and we have a dating, something that we will do a follow-up. So you could do a follow-up on this seminar, and we will talk about that in a moment. Number one, learn to have emotional connection every day. We are created for connection. So learn to have emotional connection, and this idea is perfect to develop this emotional connection. Number 6, develop an emotional bank account. Make deposit every day into your spouse bank account, and deposit if every time that you do something nice, something supportive, something that your wife or spouse love, you are making deposit. And when you behave in a negative way, you are doing what? Withdrawals. So the idea is to have more deposit than what you take out of your account. And the last one is learn how to manage your conflicts. Learn to manage your conflicts. How? Controlling yourself. Using I statements. Instead of saying, you did this, you are something else, you are from Puerto Rico, you are the reason of my problem, you don't know how to cook. Express your feelings saying, I feel this way. This is my position. This is how I feel. I want you to do this for me. I feel. When you use I statement, you are becoming vulnerable. You are allowing your spouse or your child to enter into this emotional world that you have inside of you. But if you use your statement, you are attacking, you are projecting your problem, and the other person will become defensive. So, a recap. God is in control of your relationship. Number 2, self-awareness. Number 3, learn to regulate your emotion. Number 4, renew your mind. Number 5, learn to have emotional connection. Number 6, develop an emotional bank account. And number 7, learn to fight. Learn to manage your conflicts.
I like for them to repeat it, baby, because remember how we had different learners? We have visual learners, we have kinetic learner, we have audio learner. So we're going to repeat, okay? Because you're going to see it, but you're going to repeat so it can stay engraved in your brain.
Okay, number 1, God is in control. Understand that God is in control of your relationship. Number 2.
No, hello? That's too fast. Isn't that too fast? You have to have time for them to grab it. So
Okay.
they have to repeat it. Let's try again, baby.
God is in control.
Repeat.
Number 2, self-awareness. Number 3, regulate your emotions.
No, regulate my emotion. You want to talk about you. Regulate my emotions. Go ahead.
Number 5.
Wait, did he say it?
Okay. Number 4, renew my mind. Number 5, learn to have emotional connection. Develop an emotional bank account. And number 7, learn to manage my conflict.
Very good.
Very good. Very good. So, any question? We had a lot to say, but we respect the time, and that's why we didn't present other slide that we had. So, any question? Anything that was not clear that you would like to present now, so we could answer those questions? See, yes. Number 5, learn to have emotional connection. So when your spouse is looking for a connection, for example, if your spouse